that aggression that Nidalee can bring out. Wei having such a good performance on the Udyr, looking to snowball that here into the Nidalee. And I just am so excited for the rest of this RNG comp. But we got to look over at eStar. You know, they're going to have a couple picks coming across here very, very shortly. And it does look like it's going to be the Rumble locked in, which to me is an interesting one. It's a little bit of a change up here, but does provide some of that sustained damage that you're looking for in the fights.
And if you look at Insulator, you know, he hasn't played too much. I'm just looking through his career, of course. Hasn't really been a Rumble player, but he must be spamming this in scrims for the time being. Excuse me, 2020 was actually his most played champion, so stats website screwing up a little bit there. At the very least, putting up to a comfortable champion for this mid laner, and that's great because I think Insulator on the Azir has been okay, but he's been more facilitating eStar as a whole rather than trying to put himself in a good position. So this will change the dynamic of the mid lane completely. And ShiauC getting a champion that's often banned against him in the first phase. So these are strong picks for both mid lane and support.
And this is exactly what I wanted to see for ShiauC. I thought the Rakan was okay. Didn't have that tankiness, didn't have that follow-up there. It has that initial engagement, but didn't really have any tools to work with that time around. Now the Thresh, you yourself have some extra tools to deal with and have some things to help out your team a little bit on those later engagements and things. So I like to see that coming out for ShiauC. Again, this integral member to how eStar want to play and how eStar is successful. Yeah,
set up the engage, start the early roams, and I like for RNG that we're in the second ban phase. They're already banning away the leftover junglers, right? We have Nidalee. Let's get rid of something like the Olaf. I'd even expect to maybe Talia's a bit too far out there. I'm going through the rest. Kayn could be something as a key takeaway as well, because, you know, with Rumble, we talk about these level 6 points, how you can start finding these early fights and building off the choke. If we get rid of, the Graves as well, which still hasn't been too successful, makes a lot of sense. You know, some of these farming junglers that can also impact the lanes when they hit level 6. eStar going to ban our AD carries. I'd expect to see the Xayah as the final ban here from eStar. That would be the safe lane for Gala. He could just rinse and repeat with the Alistar, who can kind of leave him on an island. And now it begs the question. You've already got the AD carry for eStar. Do you want to go for something like the Ezreal? Because a Felios we don't normally talk about, considering that you partner it up with the Thresh lane. But RNG could be reading that eStar want to put Tristana into a solo lane. Remember, it is a flex. Xiaohu showed us we can play at top lane. And so for RNG, I think the safest choice here is to leave it for a solo lane counter pick. Get the AD carry now. And is it going to be the solo AD run late game? There's the Jinx.
It's foreshadowing to when we get the new patch here, you know? Because she has yet to receive those big buffs in 11.14 or 11.4 and 11.5. So, hey, we're getting a little bit of early potential here for the Jinx as we go through the week. And I find it interesting that is the combo that we get here for RNG. They are indexing into that potential hyper carry that Jinx can provide. The Skarner, though, hey, second time I get to see it myself. We get the win rate of 100% on the Skarner. No big deal, right? It's a nice little stat.
And so already, I feel like you add Skarner into a composition that has Rumble. You've got Tristana and Thresh, and if we get the Jayce here, you know, I'll be talking a lot about the pick potential, and you're going to have a lot of bursts on this comp as well. So I feel like you're adding a bit of range here for ZS, but you are picking Jayce up into a top laner who's got 13 individual champions played. Xiaohu can pull anything out of the hat if it is not already the Renekton. Remember that we saw the Rumble early and they decided for the AD carry, so RNG, is it going to be towards mid, or are we going to see a bit of flexibility here yet again? Xiaohu with a smile on his face, and maybe the Lucian. All right.
Oh, yes. The flexing continues. Just RNG flexing those flex muscles. I'm just going to flex one more time as we do get some interesting things coming into this second game, right? You have a lot of team fight potential. You have a lot of team fight setup for eStar. RNG, on the other hand, looking for that aggression, looking to get the ball rolling, especially towards the top side of the map.
They are, and then they got that late game AD carry right in the Jinx. So there's definitely a lot going to be going on for both teams here in the early game. I think solo lanes for both teams is crucial. Insulator wants to push, get out of the wave. We know that for Renekton as well, kind of the same deal, because that is going to be a Renekton mid for Cryin. And so you get the Lucian up towards the top side, AD carry versus AD carry. And yeah, I mean, we got totally different drafts. Bit of a right hook here, to be quite honest. And, you know, we're going to see Wei take over the jungle matchup yet again, where I think for Hacker, about farming up to 6, excuse me, getting that ultimate, and then we're going to have a big 6 point for the mid 2v2 as well. I think a bit of an instant kill as well, even for someone like Renekton. So good pick potential with a Lucian top on RNG side as well. Solo lane is going to be big for both these teams this game.
And the communication is going to be big. We saw it coming so well in that last game, especially when they're trying to get those little skirmishes under wraps in the mid game. But it is about getting this Lucian, getting this Renekton involved with the Nidalee and making sure they can kind of get that going for themselves. But I have to say the onus for me, and I know the positivity reigns supreme with me, but eStar need to put up or shut up here. They've got a great teamfight composition. They've got good setups as a whole. They just can't let themselves get picked apart.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at this a lot as we go into game, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, not a color caster, so I'm going to try and dissect this as best I can, as I can hear the Jayce in Shanghai.
Every time, it just gets me chills when I get to see the crowd and hear those Jayce. It's so nice, man. It's so nice. MVP, I love it. As we do actually get a little bit of a line of skirmish here early on for either side, but this is it. This is eStar needing to show up in this game. If they don't win here, all those stories that we were talking about before that we were laying out for both these sides, RNG going to playoffs, eStar being knocked out, that all comes to fruition. They need to make sure to write a different story.
RNG, the biggest thing for me is they're one step away from locking in playoffs first. I think that's the biggest story. eStar, we expected this team not to make it, and you know, it would just be the usual here for the eStar lineup since 2020 spring.
Putting off the inevitable, if anything.
Yeah, something like that. And I'll be really curious with this jungle, right? Because Wave starting bottom side is a must. I like that Hacker's starting bottom as well. He's gone Predator on the Skarner, so will we try to path up to the top side so that he can deny Wave from getting influence in this lane? I think also, you know, the poke coming through is going to be quite immense, especially from these top two. Xiaohu and Wei as a duo, you've got mixed damage, and even against ZS, I do feel it's going to be favorable here for RNG. So curious to watch that lane a little bit closer. On the side of eStar, you talked about team fighting. I think as well, it is going to be about Insulator's ultimates. It's going to be about the range that they use. You know, Equalizer, Shock Blast, Accelerated Gate, and, you know, then Rat and ShiauC. Like, there's really good pick on this side as well. So there's a lot of elements to eStar's composition. It has to perform, like it has to rely on a lot of different elements. But having said that, I think it can be easy to execute around some of these like mid-game objectives, like some of the second or third dragon. Just considering that RNG is a lot about the snowball, and if Cryin's not that front line, if Cryin doesn't get ahead, or if Xiaohu as well is quite useless in this game, then there is a big drop-off point until we get to that late game where Jinx can be utilized to the fullest.
That's exactly where these, and honestly the other side as well. With, oh my god, that nice little hook from ShiauC, but Ming is right there to back it up. The other thing for me is, you know, both these ADCs have huge potential in the later parts of the game, and as you're saying, RNG kind of indexing into early advantages there, but as the side of eStar, if you can get this Tristana to a point that feels comfortable where Rat is a part of those fights that we didn't see him be a part of in game number one, it's where something of a power point can come for your squad. And if you can get yourself set up in those team fights. But that has been the biggest task and the biggest test for eStar, and they've been a little bit on the failing grade for that.
And I think the difference is like RNG have, you know, somewhat of a front line, right? You got the Bruiser in the Renekton, you have Ming on the Alistar. I feel like they can run Disturbance with a lot of eStar's composition, right? There's a lot of disengage as well, and I think even seeing now Insulator in the lane already doing well on this Rumble. The ability to trade through the minion wave, and of course, going up against a Renekton here, I mean, Rumble in the early parts, going to feel good until Cryin at least gets his dominance, and junglers are here.
A little 2v2 tussle potentially going on. Hacker hasn't shown yet, now he will. Wei's getting a ton of damage put on him, and honestly, yeah, this play from Insulator on the Rumble has been really nice. And yes, it is early game, there's still a lot to build off of, but his pressure and his confidence in the play at least is already there for the Rumble.
And remember at 6 as well, like you have so many options for the Rumble too, right? You're always going to have shove in this lane. That's what Rumble does with the Flame Spitter, but around these first couple of objectives, Equalize going to be a big tool. As man, Cryin walking into the fire at 6 has even become scary, but I'm trying to think about this more and more. I do think that Cryin should be fine with the dominance to get the health advantages. Top lane, bit of a doozy.
Oh man, the flash. He's got to go overcommit. He does get first blood, so ZS is able to secure that one for himself. There's nobody to respond to it, and that's all that's going to come down. eStar striking first.
Big solo kill. Big solo kill for the lane that needed it the most. ZS had a terrible time in the last game, and finally here on this Jayce gets first blood. We'll have a look at a replay because we didn't actually get to see the setup, but Xiaohu low on mana in a straight line for the Relentless Pursuit, and it's just an easy flash follow-up from ZS to get the solo kill.
Yeah, he set that up with the TP in the lane after Xiaohu had pushed the wave up a little bit more, and Xiaohu's looking to back, but not able to pull that off with the speed that ZS was able to bring. So like to see that, maybe a little bit more coming to the top, hopefully, for the side of eStar as they want to try and get this Jayce ahead now.
And I mean, both these compositions want their solo laners ahead, right? You know, Rumble will do fine at an even state, but I think we're going to look at, like, when you have a Lucian versus a Jayce, when you have a Rumble versus Renekton, these solo laners are more volatile than what we expect in the current meta. So it makes sense that we've seen drafting like these hyper carry AD carries, like that are going to be relevant no matter what in the late game. And whichever way we go in the early game, we'll see a big push or pull from either side as no buffer there for the jump, and ShiauC getting close to these hooks, man. This is why ShiauC gets Thresh banned against him the majority of the time.
Yeah.
He's the most banned against eStar.
Literally just threading those hooks every single time. Trying to, at least. That last one didn't go through all the way. But they have found Ming. I don't know if Hacker's going to have all it takes. Yeah, that flash coming out from Ming is a good call because he had everybody else collapsing on him from eStar.
You're always going to expect Insulator to be there first. Remember, it is a Rumble. He's going to have the push, and he now has the Hextech Alternator as well. So there is a lot of damage coming out of Insulator, who hit 6, but he's too far in the lane.
Ooh, that CC is so good. Setting up the spear for Wei, and RNG get a response at about 6.5 minutes in.
Bro, there's something else I'm mentioning. Renekton and Nidalee are such a great 2v2, and even though we didn't see it top for Xiaohu with the Renekton, it still works here. Renekton gets priority afterwards as well. Dragon's going to be here for RNG, and ShiauC's waiting, but it's going to rely on ZS joining the fight and trying to get something from the Dragon.
And they do, RNG at least have a little vision around the backside of that pit, so they will see ShiauC and Hacker coming that way. Looks like the Dragon's just going to go down, and RNG are looking to get away now. eStar want to try. Yeah, I was gonna say, he's got the ult, he's got the Lantern. Get in the combo! Oh, it wasn't enough, but at least the damage not going to follow up from eStar. Honestly, great from RNG and a little bit of a late call from Hacker.
The end of the Impale timed out. That's why when he took the Lantern, it wasn't the follow-through that we wanted to see. It's such a great combo, something we didn't mention, which is the Lantern Impale. So unfortunate, though, at the end of the day, and that's a couple of ultis down for eStar, trying to get something back off the Dragon.
Reminds me a little bit of what we saw in game number 1. They were so close to pulling off some of these plays, especially Hacker just trying to get something going for his team, and it just is so close, but so far only works in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Very, very true. We come back, and after Dragon, Rat does get the push up in bottom wave, takes a bit of turret plating for himself as well. RNG, though, after getting the trade kill, are actually up about 500 gold. I'm looking across different lanes. It is actually the jungle difference making the gold difference at the moment. A kill over to Wei, and he has a Hextech Alternator as well. Oh, Xiaohu up in this top lane. I mean, they're trying to gear ZS up for success. We talked about this. eStar put their priority in the top lane. They sure up what was their weakness, and ShiauC's now roaming up to try and make a play as well.
And this is what you love to see, ShiauC getting involved around the map, leaving that ADC solo lane. At some point, it's just going to evolve into a solo lane down there, Hysteric. But, you know, trying to get something across the map, trying to put more resources into ZS in the top side.
And now moving mid, look at the supports, both level 5 hovering around.
I know, it's great. You would think it's a jungle gank, but no, it's a support gank from both sides. As nobody's actually going to follow through with that. A little bit of damage traded between Cryin and Insulator, but nobody is going to die.
The difference is Xiaohu did come down. Wave's pushing again, so he has to return to the wave. So Hacker now going to be moving towards Herald as he knows that ZS gets the push up in this top lane. eStar has started this, but RNG want to contest.
Got these spears, this poke coming down. You got to be really careful not to eat one straight to the face.
Whoa.
Wei does get hooked here by ShiauC. Doesn't follow it up there. The flash from Hacker getting the Impale with the damage over top doesn't matter. You had Insulator with that extra little bit of AoE there, but not able to get anything. And it's actually Hacker who dies. Then the Rift Herald goes over to RNG, and they are taking up the pace of this game. ZS has found Xiaohu, but doesn't have the damage to fully engage onto him, and it's a really good early win for RNG.
I know you're confused as I am. It was the lantern put down again, and I think Hacker actually wanted to make the play that time, but he was on the wrong side. He was CC'd up, and yeah, a bit perplexing. After giving over another kill, RNG in an even better position. They get the Herald, and going to watch Xiaohu get bullied out, who's going to continue to back, maybe trying to bait the dive. He has flash available, but I think at this point in the game, RNG pretty happy with that. They've got a Nidalee who's 2-0, definitely snowballing this game forward. And we'll have another look at this one, Mazel, because you can see it's a great hook from ShiauC. Flay doesn't connect, but Hacker commits.
Oh, it's too far.
As Insulator's ulti is splitting the two, and eStars are just not there for the setup. I mean, Jayce in hammer form can't get the range. He can't go and commit himself, and yeah, they wanted something out of that, but unfortunately for eStar, they just move into an unfavorable position, and RNG have the damage all clumped up. Unfortunate, 2-0 start, Rift Herald, and I want to see this put mid. I want to see this into the Renekton lane, give him a bit of an advantage, or even that to the top side, because there's a lot of advantage there. Hook again.
You're going to land onto Ming, little beefy boy here, not going to be exactly the follow-up you want. And it's the little bits, man. It's that extra engagement in that last fight. I know I'm going to be hearkening back to it, but Ming getting that knock up right when Hacker was about to take the lantern. It's just so many little outplays from RNG that have meant so much for them. Now we get the focus by way on top side. Could be looking for ZS up here. Does have the Rift Herald available too, and the Night Harvester completed.
Wait for the spear to land, waiting for ZS to sidestep. He misses, but it might not matter. I mean, you add priority here. Cryin's up as well. The Shock Blast misses the minion wave, and now Hacker has to come up as well.
Cryin here just to add some extra support is going to find Insulator right there, who was looking for a little something, but 3 members top from RNG. They do summon that Rift Herald, and they're looking to take this first tower.
I mean, this puts momentum exactly where RNG want it. They have volatile solar lanterns, the Equalizer used nicely, but the Herald is going to help take first turret, and there's Dominus. If eStar stick around, they're dead.
There's a nice attempt from the Equalizer there for Insulator just to clear that minion wave, but the damage over time means that they're still sticking around for a little bit longer, and that tower does fall. So another big boon here, another about 3,000 gold lead early on here for RNG, and you can see they're pressing it. They're using this snowball they developed. Oh my god, that spear. He's going to have to execute. He flashes for it just to make sure, and Wei is right back at it again. Hysterics, 3-0 on this Nidalee this early on, and they don't want to stop.
As Insulator, I don't know. He's going to have to flash. Oh, you just saw your jungle die behind your outer turret. And he went to push the wave, scared that he could be dove as well, but didn't really count the seconds for them to walk back into lane. This is just a massacre. Again, Jungle Diff is the name of this series, and Wei is, you know, getting the objective towards the top side. The Herald play was crucial. RNG drop it down. They share the gold between the 3 most fed members. Bot keeps farming away with a CS advantage as well. And Wei is just showing up to this series, showing that the new jungler is better than the old and Hacker. Remember that Hacker's been in the LPL for a while, and it's kind of a sad story now on this eStars roster where it's all just falling apart.
Yeah, that's why I love to see the leave everybody else in the dust. I want to be the best, and Wei's putting that up here in this series, especially having 2 back-to-back incredible performances. And we're still only 13 minutes into this game, and we're already praising this guy. I mean, he's been so good around the map and in his calls, especially for his squad.
Look at the tension up at the top lane. First date, swipe so right on Tinder. You see each other for the first time. You're like,
conversation.
Oh, you're a bit uglier than I thought. I'm not that self-centered. Don't worry.
How's the weather?
Yeah. Small talk. You don't really appreciate it, but you're gonna continue anyway. Nice take from Wei. eStar, there's no dragon down here, and they're just going in for the play on the bot side where they do have Rat pushing up the wave. ShiauC continuing to roam, but this is the other thing. Remember, Jinx got a buff to her rockets. Now that the range is so massive, I'm pretty sure against Tristana, I think she firmly outranges Tristana by 25 or 50 CSs. Super Mega Death Rocket lines the middle. And Gala will continue to stay here alone while Ming keeps linking up with Wei. Because Gala clears this wave in an instant. This is what you love about, new Jinx. She's got that extra safety with the added 25 range.
Indeed, she does. And you can see it coming nicely done there for on the side of RNG. And I like to see this pick coming out already. I like to see, I'm a big Jinx fan personally, so I just like to see Gala performing pretty well, at least in a quiet laning phase, still performing pretty well, as you do see that turret plate gold at the bottom. RNG again on top, a little bit different from last game, but still 5 full plates there to Xiaohu.
And now Wei's influencing yet another lane as Hackers find the impale.
He does get trapped on the bear traps there, and it's Ming that goes in under tower. We have double TPs from RNG. Do they follow this up? Xiaohu waiting in the bush, waiting for the engage. There's the culling. Insulator goes down. And Equalizer did come out, but it's not going to do much. RNG playing really well around that use, and they're still pushing this bot lane. They could be looking for more.
As soon as you look away from the Croc, man, he flashes back and takes you down. And RNG, they're willing to dive this, hoping the poke lands from Wei and Gala to follow suit. Still being super aggressive, and this is just the power when you consider that eStar started that off. There was some great hooks from ShiauC, the Impale as well. But there's a lot of follow-up CC from RNG too. As dodging away that hook could have been disastrous if they got hit.
They were still looking. They're still looking for this bot side tower as well. And they have Gala down here pushing this wave. They are going to get this tower. Will be the second tower of the game for RNG to eStar's none.
Well, feels real bad when you're looking at a 4,000 gold lead at this point in the game. We'll have a look at this again because I was mentioning RNG CC. eStar's is better, right? We've got Impale, we've got Thresh, Play. There's a lot of follow-up with Buster Shot. You know, Insulator has slow thanks to Electro Harpoon. However, screw this fight because this is a nice flash. Look at real-time mid. Mazel, you're up.
It's just a little bit iffy there. Xiaohu's going to get the kill on the Hacker. Bit off a little bit more than you can chew there as the Skarner, and Mega Death Rocket's just going to come in to add some little bit of damage on top. Look at that gold graph right now, or at least the player gold. It is 4 members of RNG straight up in the top.
And unfortunately, eStar haven't got these solo laners off the ground. Like, what we know about, you know, sure, like Jayce can fall a little bit ahead. They still have good poke coming through. They have a lot of range with Equalizer and the Shock Blast I mentioned before, but RNG, I mean, Wei is just so big right now. The Lucian in the side lane can't really be matched, and ShiauC's having to roam across the map. He's going to have to be so active and not get hit by 2 spears in a row, otherwise he'll die. And it just feels like a really hard task for eStar.
Yeah, because he's been the one that's looking for these engagements, trying to set up for his team, and that was when we talked about the draft. We saw this Thresh get locked in for him. We were like, oh man, yes, he finally gets this. And unfortunately, it's just the pieces on the other side that are too strong to deal with. As that Rift Herald will go over to RNG, so they're going to be able to take even more objectives, even more pressure around the map.
Just break down mid.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, you can just get this priority mid. The Dragon's spawning in 20 seconds. That'll be sole point for you guys. Like, they have all the choices that they can make laid out in front of them. And
the beauty is you don't have to do it now, right? Like, you're not a team that's so far behind or that's even that you want to add a pressure point so that eStar have to react to it and you can take the Dragon. RNG is so much stronger right now. There's that Night Harvester Nidalee that's 3-0. Gala's an item and a half alongside Rat, but mid lane, you've got a front line with the Gore Drinker, and Cryin's ready to go in as well.
RNG setting up this mid lane. They are looking at this Dragon now, though, as it does get started up. It's eStar having to force into the vision control, into the game plan of RNG as the Dragon's starting to go down. Look at the back and forth from eStar. They want to go in, they don't want to go in, they decide to leave it go, and that's sole point for RNG, who are just going to come straight back to the mid lane and try to get this 3rd tower.
And if RNG choose to turn there, eStar were dead, so it's nice that as soon as eStar knew that they didn't get the hook on a crucial target, they backed away. Another Dragon goes down, sole point for RNG at 18 minutes into the game, and we're going to get to second item points very soon here for this team as well. While you look at Insulator, still doesn't have that Mythic. I mean, he's going up to top lane, doesn't have enough gold for now. Went into the Oblivion Orb to stop the Renekton.
Yeah.
Speaking of stopping Renekton.
They're going to try to. The Impale's going to come down. That's going to be the Dominus pop, though. Look at the healing. The damage is there, though, for eStar. Look at that. Sustain, though. And guess who else is here? Rocket Jump comes in. Cryine's going to die. That Mega Death Rocket's going to get the snipe as ZS does go down. It will be ending up in a trade of kills, although Gala is the one that gets the gold.
It's always nice when you see Jinx in the LPL because these rockets fly off of cooldown. Gala picks up his first kill, and it's a trade 1-for-1 after so much committed down to the bottom side. Equalizer used here in the mid lane in the meantime just to clear the wave, because Gala and Ming, you know, they have the ability to destroy Insulator while the rest of his team are rotating. And so for eStar, 5,000 gold down in this game. You know, trading at this point in the game is good, but we're going to require a lot more than that, as it's going to get to the point where Cryin will be able to 1v2. I mean, you won't be able to just casually bring 2 members to the play, because it took Impale, it took CC, it took Hook to just kill this Renekton. At the end of the day, when he has 2 items, when he has that Steric's gauge, Cryine's going to be in a great position here in this game.
Honestly, RNG are going to be in a good position. They've got the tools needed in the ways that they like to play, setting up for themselves. They've got a ton of vision control around the mid-map. They've got a ton of vision control around the objectives, typically, especially already in this game, having gotten almost every objective there. And it's just a lot of pressure for eStar to deal with in this potential, you know, knockout game out of the regular season.
As they drop Herald mid, you know, going to push the tempo a little bit more as well. This will be an easy take, as Shock Blast is doing good damage here. That's what we want to see from ZS. One of the crucial parts alongside that equalizer here in this game. And RNG going to push this to the limit, go for another shove. And Herald will get it as onto Hacker. Bit of damage done, but eStar will be able to defend.
I thought maybe they were looking at least for the safety for Hacker, not able to get that Lantern there for himself, and that pressure in mid lane is going to continue. They do still have this Jinx, and the thing that I look for Jinx is as soon as that tower's taken, you're getting excited and they're going in. You've got the equalizer that does not equalize anything. At least you get one kill traded back, but look at this Jinx. Look at these pop-offs, and it's RNG wiping the floor with eStars in the expected fashion that we set for this top team.
Say goodbye to playoffs, eStar. You're done. You know, clap yourselves out, because RNG don't stop going forward, using the poke of way so well. Gala, you mentioned, getting excited off of the turret, but they find the hook onto Cryin, thinking that this is the way to get a pick. But the problem is the Renekton survives for so long that RNG have the chance to follow up. RNG have the chance to start landing some poke of their own. And this will lead to the Baron for game number 2, and a gold lead that's going to be so hard for eStars to come back from.
Exactly that. And when we dive into this fight, you just see the unsteadiness of eStars. They got a couple pieces here and there, but yeah.
Your box is laid down, good zone control, but the spears, man. What happened is you use the Impale onto the Renekton, the hook as well. There's so much CC onto this front line of RNG. He doesn't mind sacrificing his life, consider that this is a support Renekton, 0, 2, and 9. Yeah. Way is the carry. Xiaohu's starting to be the carry here as well. Gala, confidence to flash forward, the midi Uzi that we've been calling in this split. And RNG, again, just in such a great position to carry this game forward. The Baron buff picked up after the fact, and now when you have a Lucian, when you have a Renekton, you can set up a 1-3-1 if you want. You can put 4 in the mid lane. It doesn't matter that ZS is pushing topside, because RNG have so much potential to shut down these turrets quickly.
Yeah, they can do, honestly, whatever they want at this point. They've got a huge gold lead. There are some possibilities for eStar to fight back, but you see they're going into the jungle. They're looking for the picks. They're looking for the kills, and the equalizer's going to come out. But again, you need to change the name of that. It ain't equalizing anything right now. As Ming's going to get the kill, they're giving the cow some gold at this point. Gonna have some golden horns on that boy as a couple more members for eStar. You get the thumbs up from Brat. It's like, I understand, guys. I get it. I get it. But no, apparently he doesn't, because he's just getting flashed on. Oh my God, Hysterics. This is the avalanche. This is the snowball for RNG that we needed to see, that we wanted to see. And RNG will secure themselves a spot in the playoffs with this dominating series over eStar.
And just like that, Mazel, as they pad the stats, get a couple more kills, RNG, the best team in the LPL, the question we're asking, we're getting more of an answer here as they move to 11-1. As you so rightly said, they'll be the first team in the LPL